Hello, what did growing microgreen in the ground teach me about saving money and feeding my family in 2025? Well, it was the first time I grew microgreen, and I I feel like growing it in the ground, I didn't have to buy soil often. Garden soil to grow them. So pretty much there was a new section that grew a lot of wild plant and flower, and we mow it down, we put cardboard boards down, and then we pretty much frame it with some bricks that we have around the house, and we dump those garden soil in it, and we planted our microgreen. So some of them did well. They are radish, even the daikon radish did well too. Peas did well. So I try. Oh, and then mustard, pak choy, they did well. What didn't do well is beets and carrots. So I think the garden soil just didn't have the consistency or the nutrient. It's a little bit like a wood chips compost, the texture of it. So I think the quality was just not there for some plant to thrive in it, while others thrive just fine. And I purchased fertilizer to fertilize them, and I water them as well. So pretty much just having that bed, I just created a bed there. And once that bed was created, I didn't have to buy, soil to keep, planting the microgreen, and I planted throughout the season using that area. I tried to grow it in the ground as well, and it did well as well for me, but it did well with radish. So one thing I noticed though, to grow microgreen in the ground in the garden is good you section that part, especially if you have a low maintenance garden style like I do, and I let wild plant like thistle grow everywhere in the garden. It's good to section a portion of your garden, take all the weed out of there, take all the other plants out of your way, so that you can grow the microgreen. That way you will be able to carry easily. It is more so that you can carry yourself easily without having to take one plant out of your harvest. Does that make sense? So you have to create that clear area that you can grow them, and that is one thing that I will say about it, but I will practice more. What I decided from the experiences, I'm going to grow them in a raised bed, and because I just couldn't keep thistle from growing in my garden. So for that reason, I just prefer that, it's good I raise, the ground, have bricks, enclosure, and just keep that area. That way I will take things out of there, and then I know that that area is just for microgreen, and I can just plant and harvest and all those. And one thing that I try to do as well is when I harvest it, sometimes when I harvest it, I will the bottom part, I will put it in a bucket and go mulch other plants with those. And sometimes I let it be in the bed as well, so that it can provide nutrient from the ground there. But it depends on how your area is. What I notice is, with a bed that is wide enough, I can pull those bottom, put it on the top of the on another row, so that it can dry, break down there while I'm planting on another row. Does that make sense? I don't know how to explain it, but I'm going to practice more and see what is working for me and what is not working. So toward the end of 2025, there is a sandbox that our kids outgrew. They don't use it anymore, that even rain can go in, even though it has a cover. So I move it out of the yard and I turn that area into a bed so that I can grow things there. And in fact, I grew microgreen there during 2025, but I'm reserving that area for carrots now. At least for 2026 is the plan. But I have another session that I created that is available, and at that same box I poke a hole in it and I just dug dirt from the ground in the yard, and I run comfrey to put it in that same box and cover the top with some comfrey leaves. I put some worm in it as well as I was digging. There are some worms, I left them in it, and then I cover the top with comfrey. So I don't know if those worms will be able to survive winter, but I should have put those holes bigger so that they can go in the ground. So I cover, so that is full with dirt, but dirt now like from our yard, so it's kind of heavy. And the lid, I believe I put dirt in it as well, and I like to use those two to grow microgreen in addition to the bed that I created for microgreen in 2025. I'm going to continue growing microgreen there. What I should have done though is that I should have put more dirt, because when I harvest potato, I had to dig to get potato. Yeah, that's when I was digging those dirt and filling those containers. I put some in that bed as well, but I should have intentionally fill more that bed so that I can provide a good soil to that existing soil that I purchased from the store, so that I can have good medium this year for microgreen. But I'm going to continue doing microgreen this year, and I just prefer to grow microgreen outside than indoor. For that matter, that I won't have to keep buying soil for it. That will save me money on that front, and it will have more nutrient in it growing it in the ground than growing it in artificial sterile medium. So that is the reason behind it when I try to grow it outdoor rather than indoor. But I plan of growing it indoor during winter time, but I didn't bother doing it. So I'm going to plant more microgreen, and I'm thinking about buying peas seeds for microgreen. I tried in 2025 and the kids like it, and I have other seeds that I planted in 2025 and I'm going to plant them again, but I don't have a lot of peas, so I'm going to buy a bulk of those so that I can plant them as well. So that is what I have in mind when it comes to microgreen, and that is what I learned as well. You can grow them outside and they grow well, they grow fast. Once we you reach May, they grow very fast. Like you can plant and harvest it within a week or so. Again, it depends on what kind of plant you are planting, but I'm talking about radish and some mustard as well. And then when you are getting after maybe after September, the growth will slow down. So but I like to experiment more with microgreen, and the reason why I wanted to grow microgreen is because my perennial vegetables that I use for salad in spring and summer, the production decrease for them. So therefore I like to grow some onion to supplement them. And think about it now, pretty much the production for all my perennials vegetables, the production decrease for them. So yeah, I like to just let them replenish themselves, and probably I should water them and fertilize them as well. But because I don't do those things to my garden, I just don't. But when last year I water, weed and fertilize my annuals, I did a little bit of those to my perennial as well. So I will probably do that in 2026 as well. But yeah, I just wanted to have serve more salad, for my family more than once a week. And I thought microgreen could be it, because trying to grow those annuals to full maturity in the garden was a challenge. Bunny, deer, and hot dog, groundhog from my neighbor's yard, they were coming in the garden and they were damaging those annuals that I was trying to grow to maturity. They were getting damaged. So and radish, not so much radish though. It reached a certain point before deer start chewing on the radish. So, and when I learned about microgreen, I was trying to learn to sprout in the ground. And then my search took me to microgreen, and I said, okay, I'm going to learn to grow microgreen outside. And I grew them, and I noticed that those creatures didn't even bother them. I'm not sure why. When they are bothering them when they reach a certain level, they are not bothering them when they are baby. So microgreen stay fun in the garden and stay fun in the bed. So I'm going to continue growing them in the bed and not so much at the ground level. But I think there was some groundhog that went into the bed and chewed some microgreen though. So I think they can damage those. But I just feel like when they are that young, they don't catch attention of those creatures, and by the time they do, you already harvest them. So I don't know, I just feel like I can't grow those things to maturity in the garden, but I could grow them easily as a microgreen. So, and therefore I like to continue growing them, and they grow fast. You are going to use a lot of seed though. That's why buying bulk seed, and the only way I can buy bulk seed was online. The store around were selling small packet. So therefore buying those seed in bulk will help. And since microgreen is healthy, I like to give it a try again so that I can provide a lot of healthy food to my family on the budget. And I think those microgreen, I don't buy them, I never bought them before, but based on my research, they can be expensive at the store. But when you buy your own seeds and you can grow them outside. Even if you have a container outside that you put garden soil in it, or you bought soil and put in it, if you can grow them in it, I think you can save money growing them yourself rather than buying them. So, but again, it is a journey. I'm not an expert in it, and I can share my experience with you as well, to inspire you, to help you. If you can find some ideas from it to guide yourself, that would be great. I grow food not as a hobby, but to save money and in our journey to reach our financial independence. And I like to share what I learned from my experience with you, to inspire you in your journey. So thank you so much for watching our videos. We thank you for your time. Thank you for all your comments, and we thank you very much for subscribing to our channel. I'm Afiavi Liberman, creator of Liberman Consulting L.L.C YouTube channel, and soap.com, our blog. On our channel and on our blog, we share different ways to save money and different ways to make money to reach your financial independence, where you do not depend on an employer to provide for your family. And growing your own food is one way to make money. Just start small and you'll get there. So at least that is the goal, to save money on groceries but still eat healthy and feed your family healthy food. So thank you so much for watching.